Welcome to episode 53 of the Wilderness Podcast, a show done by casuals for casuals. Just slip that right in there. My name is Dilz, and with me as always is Deegan.
Hey, how's it going?
The going's pretty good. How's it going with you? Anything exciting on your end?
Not too much, really. Just same old, same old.
Just going through the grind?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I really don't have much to talk about what happened, this week, so if you have anything.
Nothing exciting at all, eh?
No. Nothing worth mentioning, at least.
Alright, well, I'll just jump right into it then. I'm still steadily grinding away on my Slayer. Fuck, I've been doing that for like a solid 3 months, it feels like. But finally got 89 Slayer. We're getting close to those dark beasts. Trying to think if there's any tasks worth mentioning, I'm getting the usual, every now and then I'm getting a boss and stuff, which is always fun. Got back to the Dagannoth Kings, getting better at that, so that's fun.
Nice.
Really enjoying that. I don't know if it was last week or the week before, but I talked about getting the Cave Kraken task.
Yep.
But I had the boss task, which was just, I had 35 to kill, which, it's not bad, whatever. Did that pretty easily, but this time I got I think 180 to kill. These were just the normal monster kills, right?
Yep.
But yeah, so I got 180 and I decided I'm going to sit at the boss and just keep going. My plan is to keep killing the Cave Kraken, is it the boss that's the Cave Kraken, or is it the mini dudes?
Well, what do you mean?
You got the Kraken. I don't know why I keep saying Kraken. You got the normal...
There's that poem. There's that poem, The Kraken has awakened at the bottom of the sea.
Oh, good. I never heard of that poem.
So, they both work. Don't let anyone tell you different.
All right, thanks, man. I can dig it. All right, so, because I know they have the normal Krakens, and then they have a Cave Kraken, and I just imagine the Cave Kraken's the boss. Am I getting that mixed up?
No, yeah, the Kraken is when you enter the crevice or whatever, that's the boss.
Okay, well, anyways, I'm killing the big dude. So if you don't know, you got the boss Kraken, and then you got just the monster Krakens, which are like the mini variants, I haven't actually even killed one, but apparently they're pretty easy and stuff like that, even though the boss itself is really fucking easy, so I can't imagine how easy the normal dudes are. Have you killed any of the small guys?
No, I always opted in to just kill the boss, and now I just don't do the task anymore.
You skip it.
Yeah. Well, I already have the the pet and the jar, so I have I really don't have any other use to kill it. It's just slow Slayer experience. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess it is fairly slow. By the end of your task, you've gotten it quite a bit, but still it takes you a long time to kill 180 of them.
Yeah.
So yeah, you mentioned the jar of dirt? Is that what you got?
I think so.
Yeah, the jar of dirt. So that's pretty rare. I just looked it up now. It's a drop rate out of 1,000. So yeah, she's fairly rare. It's pretty good. And the pet is 1 out of 3,000. So yeah, I spent about my whole Slayer trip there, killing 180 of the bosses. Because I think I'm going to keep killing the big boss version of the Kraken until I get the pet at the very least. I have got the jar. I did get the jar of dirt, so that's pretty all right. Yeah, it's pretty good. But holy shit, you make bank! I can't believe you skipped them.
Yeah, I mean, I just want the experience at this point.
I swear, I must have made about 3 mil off that task itself.
Yeah, you make a lot of money. Sometimes I'll walk out with a mil just sitting in my inventory. I'll get 1 or 2 magic seeds, and you're like, oh, nice.
Yeah, those are pretty nice to get, but so many awesome noted items. Just off the top of my head, I know there's raw monkfish. You get 100 of those, and there's raw sharks, you can get 50. Battle staffs, you get 10 of those, which is, I think they sell for 8.6k each, so that's almost 100k right there. Shit, it's not...
Yeah, plus the runes you get, and Sandfew serums are kind of nice, I guess.
Oh, that's another one, because if I'm not mistaken, they sell for 15K
like
each.
plus.
Yeah, 20K each maybe.
Yeah, a little bit over that, but yeah, you can like consistently sell them for like 20K.
It's crazy.
They're pretty nice. Yeah, there's like a lot of good drops on the boss. It's just the task takes so long.
Yeah, it does. I was there like for a couple hours,
pretty much.
Yeah,
it feels like that at least.
But yeah, making bank, which is awesome. I don't really know what I should be saving up for next. I don't want to make a stupid purchase and buy something that I'm barely going to use. Like, I saved up 10 mil and bought the Ring of Suffering. It's a good item to have, but you don't really use it that often at all. I barely use it.
Bossing Zalra and stuff like that.
Yeah, I've used it for Dagannoth Kings.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's it. In Zalra.
I would honestly say just save up for a Sarah Godsword.
I was thinking about that, but shit, man, 40 mil. You know, I'm a broke motherfucker.
40 mil, but you're also saving money. The longer you have it, the more money you've saved. Like, it's kind of hard to explain. I talked about this when I got the Sarah sword, or the God sword, because when you spec, you heal and you get prayer points.
Prayer points as well? I didn't know that.
Yeah. I think it's 50% of the damage you deal is health, and then like a 25% is prayer.
Wow.
With like a minimum, if you hit under, I think, a 20, you'll always heal 10 and whatnot.
Damn, that's decent.
Yeah, and it's really nice because, like, there's a lot of tasks that you, like, realize you don't have to bank anymore because of, like, you can spec.
That, you know, that's kind of true. Like, there's a few times where I'm killing... I'm trying to think off the top of my head what monsters these are. But there's a bunch of times where I'm like, I just kind of want to call Deegan and be like, hey, man, since you've been kind of busy and not playing RuneScape too much, let me use that. Let me put that Sarah Godsword you have to work. Yeah. Let's get some use out of it. But then I have a feeling like I will not be able to give that thing back once you start using it, you know.
Yeah, like, I find, like, a lot of tasks, like, I'll bring Guthans and a Godsword, so, like, gargoyles, I bring one shark and one prayer pot just in case I get like a lot of the superiors in a row, because I've had it where I get like 2 back to back and then I'm like, oh shit, I kind of have to Guthan off a gargoyle before and hope I can heal up. Like, I've gotten pretty lucky with superiors, but it's like I always have like a backup, like just one shark and a prayer potion just in case. But like with Guthans and a godsword, like fire giants,
oh yeah,
hellhounds, even though I kill Cerberus. And I don't bring the Guthans for Dust Devils, but like the sword's super useful. And like the more you spec and the more you're healing off of it, like you're kind of saving money in food and prayer potions.
Yeah, and plus, like you just mentioned, you don't bring your Guthans to Dust Devils because you need to have your Slayer helmet on to kill them, right? Exactly. You need to have the face mask, and that's where the Sarah Godsword would be beautiful for.
Mm-hmm. And like it. Yeah, it's just convenient and like because eventually it is a really good weapon for speccing. Like you can hit pretty high with it and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Yeah, like the sooner you get it, if you in the long term, you'll be saving money. It won't be a lot, but like over the course of say like a year, it might actually be noticeable.
Yeah, that's definitely on my wish list of items to purchase, but. See, I'm thinking if I should just save up for that, or maybe go for Bandos Tassets.
I would say
those are 25 mil, and that'll help me output more damage, therefore killing more monsters. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I had Tassets for a really long time, and I sold them. And I kind of realized, like, Torags just does the job for me pretty well.
Yeah.
Like, obviously I don't have as much damage, but, like, you take less damage and stuff, and it's... Like, I think, like, the damage bonus, like, I guess it's nice, and the range defense is pretty nice. I should say strength bonus, not damage bonus, but, I don't know, I think you should seriously get the Godsword first, and then maybe save up for the Tassets. I would find, like, whatever gets you the most strength bonus for whatever money.
See, I've gotten to that point where, like, all the items I need now are your big ticket items. Your Armadillo set, your... Bandos, the God Swords, things like that. So, and like all your fucking Zenite jewelry, basically.
Do you have like a torture or an anguish?
Nope, just the Ring of Suffering. Isn't that pathetic? That's the first one I buy. The Ring of Suffering.
Yeah, I don't know if I would have done that, but it depends on how much you like doing Zulrah.
I've maybe killed a couple Zulrahs with the Ring of Suffering just to test it out. It's nice, don't get me wrong, it's awesome, but I'm not the person who's like grinding out 10,000 Zulrah kills.
Yeah.
You know, they did nerf Zulrah, you know, I think feels like a couple months back.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not even that long ago, but it's still a good monster to grind out if you want some cash. Probably one of the most profitable bosses still. I don't know. Anyways, so made bank off that. I got my first Lizardman Shaman task. Well, Lizardman task, and I decided to opt to kill the Lizardman Shaman.
Yep.
Have you tackled those guys yet?
No.
No? So they're kind of interesting. They're fun at first, and then when you gotta kill 180 of them, it's really fucking annoying.
Yeah.
It's pretty brutal, so...
Yeah, you just gotta pay so much attention to them. I don't like doing the shaman task. I mean, I you know...
It's non-stop clicking. That's it.
Yeah, you have to fight them in, like, Chamber of Xeric, so I'm killing, like, 2 of them, and it's just like... God damn, I could not... I mean, maybe a cannon would be really nice and helpful, but I just don't like clicking non-stop.
Yeah, so I guess let's just go over what they're all kind of about. They're on Zeah. They were released with the Zeah update. They're the only monster that dropped the Dragon Warhammer, so that's fucking fantastic. It's very rare. It's 1 out of 5,000. But, you know, you get that. It's worth, I think it's, 67 mil?
Yeah, that's how much I bought mine for.
Yeah, okay, so... Yeah, worth 67 mil, so that's fantastic. Besides the Chamber of Xeric, which is the raids, there's 2 places you can kill them. It does require 100% Shazian favor to kill them. I believe that's right. Right?
I have no idea. Maybe.
Let me check that up real quickly. I am almost certain that they require 100% Shazian favor. Because I remember when the raids first came out, I think they had 2 shamans where you didn't need any favor to attack them or kill them. Do you recall that?
Like the ones that you could save spot?
I don't know if you could save spot them, but they had like in between the Shazian camp and then where the raids were, they had like some Lizardman Shaman there, and you didn't need any favor to get to them, so therefore you could just kill them without having to grind out the favor for the house. Okay. So yeah, I'm pretty sure you do need it, because they eventually had to revert that, because a lot of people were kind of pissed off that like they're like, it felt it was kind of cheap to be able to just kill them without having to grind the favor.
And you would see a lot of like Dragon Warhammer alt 1, 2, 3. You'd actually see like people that have like level 30s and 40s safe spotting them.
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I remember it was a big kerfuffle for a little bit, but yeah, they took that out.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal. But anyways, now they only have the 2 areas. There's an area right in the Shazian camp, which you have to go down this like little ladder sort of deal into this pit. And then the other one is on the way to the Chambers of Xeric. There's a cave we can go to, but that one you need to have Slayer. You need to have the Slayer task to fight them. So that's how they kind of get you there. But they have a few interesting attacks. They have like just their standard melee attack when you're in range, and then if you're not in range, they're going to shoot this like attack at you, which is a ranged attack. So you can pray to block them. So that's nice. Mm-hmm. But they've also got 3 kind of special attacks. One of them is they'll jump up in the air for a few seconds, and then they'll land where you're standing. If they land on you, they can do like 30 damage. To avoid that, all you have to do is walk away from where you're standing. Or you have to be fighting them up against the wall, because then they just won't use that attack, because I guess you know they'll clip into the wall if they land on you, right? Mm-hmm. So they won't use that special attack if you're right up against one of the walls. Another attack they have is they shoot this like acid bubble, and again, it'll go to where you're standing, so you have to move out of the way, and it'll kind of blow up in a little, maybe by a 2x2 square, something like that. And it'll do some damage to you there. And then their third attack is they spawn these purple little minion dudes that'll follow you, and after like 3 to 5 seconds, they'll stop moving and they'll explode. So that one, same idea basically, is you just have to run away when they're about to explode. Get out of range of their little explosion. and you're good.
Mm-hmm.
If you have the Shazian armor, there's a set of armor you can get, which is just called like Shazian armor. And you have to do like a little, not a mini game, but when you're in Zeah, to get favor with it, you have to do these little like tasks almost. I don't know how you would explain it. Chores? Little side jobs?
Yeah. Little task thingies, yeah.
Yeah, so you have to do these little tasks. And then one of them is you go into this little fight ring, fight these like, there's a Shazian warrior, number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So you have to kill each one of them 4 times and kind of, they'll drop gear. And then when you get the full set of the number 1 gear, you can kill the second dude and you get the full set of the second tier gear. Do that all the way to the 5th tier gear. Because, what that will do is when you're attacked by that acid bubble that the shamans do, it does no damage. It's not even going to hit you. So if you have that full gear on, you don't even have to worry when he uses that attack. And if you fought them without the Shazian gear on, that'll do quite a bit of damage, and it also means you're going to have to constantly click. So the shamans are pretty bad as it is, having to click to get away from the little minion spawns. And then if he does jump to attack you, you'll have to click again to get away from it. So you're constantly kind of moving in the perimeter of the little area you're in.
Yeah.
Trying to be up against the wall if you can. But the thing that's nice about the Slayer area, it's like they're really small rooms, so it's pretty easy to kind of move against the perimeters to stay away from the jumping attack and to like dodge little minions that spawn when they're going to explode. Makes it kind of easy. It's also not multi-combat, so you don't have to worry about getting attacked by multiple guys. But the only downfall is you can't use your cannon there. Because what a lot of people will do is they'll go to the non-Slayer area where you can place your cannon and they can use that to help them attack.
Yep.
So that's what you see a lot of people doing as well. I don't think I'm missing anything, but I decided to kill those. Those aren't bad, but when you're coming off the Kraken task, it's noticeably less loot. Plus, after like the 50th kill, you're kind of sick of fighting these things.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the Dragon Warhammer is very fucking enticing. It's very enticing for you to want to get it. So, I suffered through the 180 kills. Didn't get it, of course, obviously. But made some nice loot there.
Yeah, it's not bad.
And that's basically it. I got a master clue and actually completed it this time, but, I didn't get any loot. It's a damn shame. And that's about it. Yeah, I think that's it. Like I said, I've been grinding hard on my Slayer tasks, trying to focus on my attack when I can, but sometimes you're stuck doing ranged. See, with the Lisbon shamans, I'm using the blowpipe against them. You can also do them with melee, but I found it was a little bit easier to range them. Yeah. So yeah, I'm just really fucking excited to get the melee stats up. Not the melee, but my combat stats up in general to, boss more often, do at least efficiently, and, also be able to participate in the raid, or when Raids 2 comes out.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to be able to, be set to do that right on release. So, just working on that. I've been thinking a lot about when we talked last week about me leveling up my defense, because it's still 71, but just focusing on my attack, which is 91. And if I'm, keep doing what I'm doing, I should be able to get 92 tonight or tomorrow. It's so hard to commit to just like, okay, let's start leveling my defense. The levels are going to come fast at first, right? Like, being at level 70, you're going to just blast through some of those levels, but once you do it, you can't go back. It's hard. I was at I guess I should just mention, this is kind of funny. Didn't happen to me. Didn't happen to somebody I know, but I saw it happen to some random person. I was at the catacombs in Zeah. So if you've never been there, they have a shit ton of monsters down there, and it's all multi-combat. So you'll see a lot of people kind of training their Slayer through methods like ice bursting or using chinchampas to really quickly level their ranged or magic if you're bursting, and also taking out the Slayer monsters pretty fast, right?
Yeah, it's like if you're like bursting or barraging like dust devils, like it's stupidly fast.
Yeah, you see a ton of people doing that.
Yeah.
And also, a lot of people don't know this, but I'm pretty sure every monster or most monsters in there have a really bad magic defense level, or not defense level, but magic defense stat. So you could easily just wear full initiate and just burst them down.
Yeah.
And you won't have any problems. Often you'll see somebody wearing like full Ahrims or something like that, but you don't necessarily need to. You could still keep a nice prayer bonus, and you'll probably be getting competitive magic experience rates.
Yeah.
But yeah, I saw this person killing Necryarchs or Necreals, and they said that they started lagging, accidentally clicked defense when they were ice bursting. I should mention this was a pure with 1 defense, and they instantly went to level 14 defense. 1 to 14 in like one shot, or maybe 2 or 3 shots if they were lagging, but it was enough time. It was such a quick time that they weren't able to stop the levels.
Yeah.
So they fucking just instantly got the levels, and they're like, all right, guess I'm an initiate pure now.
Yeah.
I thought that was funny. I saw that happen. I was like, damn,
so brutal.
That fucking sucks.
And the worst thing is, if they ever want to become a Zerker, like, they can't fully quest.
No?
No, because if you're Zerking, you're making up a Zerker count, because I've been, like, looking into making one. Once I get enough money, I'm going to just fund one.
Yeah.
There's, like, a bunch of quests. Like, if you're making one, you don't train at all. You get it all through, like quests and stuff.
Sure.
Yeah, so you don't go over 45. But, if you do, like, all the quests that give defense experience, you're left, I think there's 2 quests that you have to choose from, because if you literally do all of them, you'll have 46 defense.
Shit.
Yeah, so like that's just shitty. He just couldn't like fully quest up his Zerker.
Yeah, as long as each of the quests that you're doing that give defense experience have a good reward that you could use as a pure. Or Zerker.
Yeah, it's pretty shitty though.
Yeah, that sucks, because like mini pures sometimes accidentally get level 2 defense, and that in itself, a lot of people feel like they ruin their pure when that happens, when really it sucks. It does kind of hurt your account a bit, but like you can still manage, you can still PK effectively.
Yeah,
but no, yeah, you get fucking 5 or more and you're dunskies. Yeah, I think that's it.
Want to go into the news?
I think it's time to go into the news. Did you hear that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're going to start doing that now. So that's our little soundbite for our news segment about to start.
Yeah. So we'll start off. There's a couple things to cover, but we'll start off with this week. They added new barbarian fishing spots, so that's where you get like leaping trout, salmon, and sturgeon. It's like really good experience rates for fishing.
Okay.
They added some new spots to what is it? Quita Mortem?
The fuck's that?
I don't really
I feel
know.
like we've talked about this before, because I remember that name sounds oddly familiar, but not enough that I know exactly what it is.
Yeah, I have no idea exactly what that place is.
Oh, it's in Zeah.
Is that near sand
Zeah.
crabs, or?
I want to say it's where the raids are.
Okay, cool. Not bad.
Yeah, underneath Mount Quid Mortem are the Chambers of Xeric.
Alright, so I guess there's new fishing spots there.
Okay, where was that an issue before? Where people like kind of like, that seems a little random to me.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe people just wanted another spot. Who really knows? I don't know. But yeah, there's a new spot there. They made some sound bank changes. So with the release of Fossil Island, like a number of changes were made to the sound bank. And It was just because of the new tracks that were being released and whatnot. And it had like an effect of changing the sounds to like all pre-existing tracks. Since like sound banks is shared by all music in the game, they went and like reverted the change. I don't really play with sound, so I don't know exactly what.
Yeah, even though the sounds in this
was.
game are fucking spot on, they're really good. Like the music and everything, but the way RuneScape is, it's the perfect Netflix and chill game. You know what I mean? Netflix and Scape.
Yeah. Yeah, so generally if I'm playing, I'm watching something and just doing some AFK shit. But they went and changed that because I guess some people like playing with sound on and they were getting bothered by it.
Yeah. Okay.
Another change they made was they kind of made HP bars a bit more accurate because I don't know if everyone remembers when Last Man Standing came out, it messed with HP bars.
Right. Vaguely remember.
So if you were hit, like, let's just say you had, like, I don't know exact numbers, but let's say you had max health, right? Or let's say you had, like, 46 health. That's probably a better example. And you got hit, like, for 58%. You have 58% of your health total, and then you get hit for, like, what, I don't know, let's just say a 2 or a 3, and it would bring you down to, like, a certain percentage threshold. It would, like, sometimes you would take damage and your health bar wouldn't move.
Oh,
or sometimes you would take 1 damage and your health bar would just drop hard.
Right.
And people were, like, saying that the health bars are really inaccurate, and another big issue was that OS Buddy and stuff like that it would tell you what, like, you know, how much health this monster had or whatever, and they had to change it to percentage.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that.
So they've kind of fixed this a bit. They kind of made it more accurate. So there's 30 sections to your health bar, and each section has, like, you know, certain hit points associated with it. So, like, you know, 90 hit points is 30, and, like, you know, 89 to 87 is 29. You know what I mean? Like, they have a much more accurate.
Okay.
And all that stuff.
Interesting. When they first mentioned this, because I had seen it pop up when they first came out with the dev blog, I thought they were saying, like, they're going to have the number of health units, like, instead of having they'll have the green bar and the red bar, but then above that, they'll have, like, 99, or, you know what I mean, whatever the health's at. And I was like, whoa, this is game changing. I don't know how people are going to feel about this. And then...
Yeah, thankfully they're just making it a bit more accurate. So, yeah. They've made it a little bit more accurate, so people will stop complaining about that.
Fair enough.
Yeah. They did a little stream, I guess, of like developing the Grotesque Guardian, the
right. They've done this
boss
a few times before.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah. More importantly, though, the Dragon Slayer 2 poll concluded, and it passed with a yes.
Man, I really don't think we need a Dragon Slayer 2.
Well, we got it.
I'm just kidding. I would have been surprised if it didn't pass.
Yeah.
Could you imagine how heartbroken, you know, Jagex mods would be? Especially, I think it's Mod Ed that came out with the announcement at RuneFest, and he seemed super excited and passionate about it.
Mm-hmm.
Could you imagine people are just like, meh, fuck it, we don't need more quests? Probably would have been so heartbroken. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure we both knew that was going to pass.
Yeah. In other news, Mod Curse joined the Oldschool team.
Cool.
Yeah, they're testing right now the Make All. I guess they have, like, their testing servers, so they're, pretty much soon. It's coming out real soon. Just making sure everything's good. Gnome gliders now have a left-click glider option available, so that's pretty nice.
Oh, that's funny. I always kind of thought they did.
Might have been a right-click, but I think if you left-clicked, you would just talk to them.
Oh, maybe,
So
maybe you're right.
Yeah, they made it a little bit more convenient. And then there's, like, a bunch of non-important stuff.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Yeah, with some polls that they're proposing to, you know, they want us to see what we like about this or what we think. They've added an idea of changing the model of the Dragon Fire Shield when it's charged or uncharged.
Okay.
So when it's uncharged, like, the shield, instead of the orangeness on the shield, it would be red. Does that make sense? Like with the anti-fire, if you think of the anti-fire shield, how it's orange, like, it would just, instead of that orange color being in the background, it would just be red.
Yeah, okay. I'm sure most people who've seen the Dragon Fire Shield picture it with the orange background.
Yeah.
It's a kind of a staple, right?
Yeah. So when it's uncharged, they want it to be, like, a red color, and when it's charged, it'll be, like, back to the orange color.
Fair enough. Yeah.
And
I mean that seems suiting.
And they have similar change that change would also be applied to the Ancient Wyvern Shield, just having a different color between charged and uncharged. They want to add a rock thrown hammer because when you're killing gargoyles, you have to have like a rock hammer to crush them, and it's a melee weapon. Yeah. So ranging isn't really like ideal, I guess. I don't know if you I don't even know if you can safe spot gargoyles. I've never looked for a spot. I've never seen anyone doing it because you would have to run at them and crush them. So now they want.
Yeah, I guess that is the reason. I just assumed you didn't range those guys.
Yeah, it's just for like a convenience thing. You're better off meleeing them if you have to go up to them and kill them anyways.
Yeah, I never thought of that being the reason why people aren't ranging them. I just thought like, they have a high range defense or something silly like that. But yeah, okay.
Yeah, so they want to add these rock thrown hammers. It would kind of work like salt or ice coolers. How it would be like a stackable thing in your inventory. That would you would just use one when you killed one or you used one on them. Cool. And the Gargoyle Smasher Slayer unlockable thing would be applicable. Right,
the automatic smash. Yeah. So you didn't have to click individually each time you want to take them out, which is an awesome upgrade to have if you're killing. If you're doing Slayer a lot, 'cause you're going to get gargoyles quite a bit. Mm-hmm. It's a huge quality of life.
Yeah. Yeah. And so another Slayer related change would be they want to buff the leaf bladed battle axe because as of right now, the sword is better, which is kind of lame because the battle axe came out afterwards and it's
I remember when this update came out. I've always assumed the battle axe was stronger. I never really looked into it, but
yeah, I think some of it comes down to the attack speed, and you just get more DPS out of the sword.
Wow, I feel like a fucking idiot.
I used to use the battle axe. Someone told me to like look into using the sword, and yeah, I found out the sword is better.
I'm pretty sure I've been telling people to look into the battle axe. Shit, I'm an idiot.
So they want to fix this by like improving the crush and slash to plus 72. And then they also want to add like a passive 17.5% damage buff when you're attacking Karasks and Turoths only.
That seems pretty big, the passive buff. I guess the sword doesn't have a passive buff like that, does it?
I have no idea. I don't think so.
I'm gonna check real quick.
I'm assuming it would stack with your Slayer helmet too, which would be like pretty crazy.
Ooh, it's an ass.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's one of the polls, and they want to know if we want an Ahrims staff buff.
No, why would you do that?
Kidding. It's a pretty trash weapon, but they have two suggestions. They want to give it a 5% magic damage boost and or make it a one-handed weapon.
Whoa.
I feel like both of those are going to pass because like only having one wouldn't really, like, I guess having, like, a one-handed would be pretty big, but
I just feel like that is, I know Old School RuneScape isn't the most consistent game, but Barrows is the one area where they all are consistent. Every set, every weapon for each set is two-handed.
Mm-hmm.
So I know I'm probably nitpicking. Nobody uses the Ahrims staff, so I'm glad they're thinking about buffing it, which it definitely should get some type of buff.
Yeah. It's funny though. There's a guy on the subreddit that posts all the time, and he always talks about how the Ahrims staff needs a buff. And he showed a screenshot of him owning like over $1 billion worth of Ahrims staffs.
Wow.
I remember seeing this like half a year ago. So he's probably foaming at the mouth right now.
Or he sold them like 2 months ago and he's fucking shooting himself in the foot.
He had way too many to sell. Like he'd have to put them all in and wait like months to sell them all. Because they go for like 20 to 50K. Like they're so cheap. But yeah.
That's crazy. I do think it should get a buff, but at the same time I would like it to stay a two-handed weapon while still being viable to use. Because it kind of makes the barrows unique in that sense where, like, they're all two-handed weapons and stuff like that. And most staffs that we have are one-handed, so it'd be cool to have a good staff that works, but it's two-handed.
Yeah, and it kind of changes up, like, tribe rating, right? In terms of you'd probably, if it was one-handed, you'd probably be using the Ahrim staff. You're not really going to be bringing like a wand if you're like tri-braiding someone, right? In the wilderness.
Yeah, okay.
You might opt in for the Ahrim staff and like if it has a 5% damage boost alongside
that's damage, not accuracy, right?
Yeah, it's damage. And you add that with the occult.
Add that with the bracelets. Is it the torment bracelets?
Yeah.
Because that adds another couple percentage. Mm-hmm. So
yeah.
Because the thing is, magic is all capped, right? So originally, Ice Barrage, which is the 94 ancient magic spell, was capped at 30. But then you get the occult, and I think it can hit like a 32 or 33, something like that, maybe. What I'm saying is you stack all these up, and like it gets pretty significant, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Cool, interesting.
Yeah, so they have 2 pulls for the Ahrim staff, so one or the other. But making things consistent, I guess, the Armadillo, Saradomin, and Zamrock godswords all use 50% special attack.
Okay.
When you use it, but the Bandos uses 65. So they they're proposing a pull to buff it by bringing the special to 50%. Or when I say, 65. It uses 65. They want to bring it to 50.
Yeah, to keep it on par. Okay, so
make it consistent.
You'll probably have a better grasp on this. What do you think of that? Because I know it's one of the cheaper god swords, but people do use it for Corp and other bosses, right?
Yeah, because it reduces defense. So,
do you think it's a big deal to be able to swing it twice instead of once?
I don't really think so, because like when I'm doing Bandos, especially with a buddy or something, I'm specking once. I'm not really double spec. Even if I could, you'd only really want to use it once, just because, kind of keep your kills more consistent. But,
all right.
Yeah, I'm not really too sure. I think they should change this because, I mean, of course, the Dragon Warhammer's like way, like, you know what I mean? It's like what?
What does that use?
33 times the value of a Bandos Godsword. It uses 50%. And that's one of the big deals with it, right? So if you're doing Corp and you have a Dragon Warhammer, you can spec twice before you go and back to like a player-owned house and recharge your spec.
Okay, yeah.
I think like they should change it, because if they don't, then it's kind of like, well, like the Sarah Godsword is like the best. Why? Like let's just nerf that and bring it to 65%. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's weird that the Bandos is at 65, but yeah, I don't know.
That is an odd one.
Something that they just didn't really like. I never really thought of this being an issue, but it's not really an issue, I guess. But I don't know.
You also gotta remember these godswords originally came out in, I think it was 2007.
Yeah.
So at the time they could have had these all geared to where the direction they wanted, RuneScape at the time to be going, which as we see, it's RuneScape 3 now. But yeah, checking with the prices, Bandos is the second cheapest, 4.2 mil, Zamrock being the cheapest.
Okay, I thought it was like 2 mil, but yeah, I guess 4 mil.
Well, I am looking at this after these dev blogs come out, so they could be kind of bouncing around. Now that I'm looking at it, they're at 2.5 mil, and October 2nd, they started rising. October 3rd, they're 3.3 mil. October 4th, they're 5.6 mil.
Jesus.
October 5th, they're 4.4 mil, which is basically what we're at now. So holy shit, they've kind of been bouncing around. That happens almost with every dev blog, right?
Yep.
It's panic buying and panic selling, and then it settles a bit. But this one seemed to have settled from 2.5 mil settling at 4.2. So that's it's pretty significant.
Yeah. Yeah, so they have some proposed changes to the Serpentine helm again.
All right, let's see if they can get it right this time around.
Yeah, right now it's trash. It's literal garbage. You're putting a trash
and then before
bag
that, it was super good.
Yeah.
Right? So it goes from being like godly to fucking trash.
Yeah. So right now, you have a 1 in 4 chance to apply venom. Any target that you're hitting with melee. If you actually hit them, zeros don't count. So they'd like to increase this to 100% when using any venom-inflicted weapon. And also they'd like to extend the effect by adding a 50% to apply venom when using a poisoned weapon.
Interesting. So the venom weapons would be the tentacle whip, blowpipe, and the trident of the swamps.
Yeah. Well, it would be just the whip. Because it's melee. I believe
Yeah, you're right. Sorry, melee.
They might... Well, they say using any venom inflicted, so I think you're right. So I guess the trident and the blowpipe would also inflict venom.
Okay, yeah. Because I'm thinking, like... Most of the time, at least, like, not many people are just busting out the tentacle whip for everyday tasks and monsters, right?
Yeah.
Using it for the monsters that you're willing to use the charges on.
Yeah, like bosses and the sand casino.
Yeah, that's what I had that for, the sand casino and the wilderness, Edgeville.
So, they want to do that. They also, so I should say that with the Emerald Bolt E special, which like that poisons,
right?
They don't want the venom to affect that. So the venom would not have any, because it would be at 50% because it's a poison. So like if you're DDSing someone, it's a 50% chance to poison someone.
Interesting.
But yeah, they don't want it to apply to the bolt, and should specify that.
Okay.
I really do think they should have this, because beforehand, if you, like when I was doing Sarah, you would bring a Serp helmet because you want to like venom everything, right? Because the boss is such a bitch, especially if you're soloing.
There's like 2 or 3 minions there, right, that are attacking you alongside the boss.
Yeah, I mean, I don't pray flick. Like, I'm not flicking for all the minions and whatnot, so...
Mm-hmm.
But when they nerfed that, like, I realized how useful it was, because, like, if I was doing Sarah solo, I could consistently kill all the minions in Sarah and, like, prep for the next fight. But then as soon as they took this out, like, there'd be times that I have to leave a minion up. I just couldn't kill them all in time. Like, the venom actually, like, made such a difference. And then, because before, it used to just be when you got hit, you could apply venom on things.
Yeah,
so it made it really useful when you're doing bossing, because, you could kill
it applied venom when you were getting hit.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, just making sure.
And that was a little overpowered, I do have to admit, but, they nerfed it. So, yeah, hopefully this buff goes through. I'd really like to see that, because then maybe I'd, pull out the blowpipe and just tag everything once, including the boss, and then, oh, look, we're back to where we were. But
yeah, it's, it's supposed to be a kind of like one of the best helmets in the game, as in you need 75 defense to wield it. How many other helmets do you need 75 defense for? Yeah,
exactly. I don't think you need any. I don't think there's any other helmets, are there?
No, I can't, off the top of my head, I can't think of any. So, yeah, the Serpentine helmet was supposed to be pretty end game, but then like they don't want it to be too overpowered, where it's like, best in slot for everything.
Because when again, the next helmet comes out, how are they going to top that?
Yeah, and that's what we were talking about when they first made these changes. They wanted to bring it down so that when they do think of bringing another helmet, it's not going to be like, oh, well, this one's going to be even stronger than that.
Yeah.
Or they also didn't want to nerf the Serpentine helmet and then give this old stats to this thing.
Yeah.
Right away. So maybe they're going to do that in the future. Who knows? But
yeah,
do you know if it prevents you from getting poisoned when you're wielding it right now?
It should. I have always remembered it preventing. That's why people still use it for Zulrah, because you don't get venomed.
Right.
So I'm assuming that it would still apply to poisons, but I'm not 100% on that. It makes sense if it did, but
yeah. All right.
But yeah, we got some exciting proposing, like some new proposes.
You got a biggins?
Yeah. So if you're ranging and you're using a crossbow, you pretty much use the occult or like a rune kite or a DFS.
The occult? You mean
not the occult, the
Odium ward.
The Odium ward. I don't know why I said occult. Odium. Yeah. You'd be using the Odium for like the range bonus and stuff. DFS or rune kite.
Or if you're poor, you're using the Book of Law.
Yeah, you could also use the Book of Law too. So like that's 4 options, right? And so they're proposing a new item called leather shields.
Ooh.
So wood, so they will be wooden and leather shields. So
interesting.
It's kind of cool. So there's so there's the wood variants and leather variants, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, so defensive stats would be similar to that of a Brudu shield, which is the tribal mask shield thingy.
Oh yeah,
you get from Shiloh.
I have one of those in my bank just because they give you prayer bonus.
Yeah,
which was kind of interesting.
Yeah. You'd get a positive range defense and lower magic defense. So there's when I say wooden shield, I mean like there's the level 1 off tutorial island wooden shield, but like I mean they'll have oak shields, willow, maple, yew, magic, and redwood.
Whoa.
So you'd need 27 fletching for oak, 42 for willow, 57 for maple, 72 for yew, 87 for magic, and 92 for redwood.
Okay.
Yeah, and then
I am intrigued.
Then they'd have the green, the red, the black, the blue. I forgot about the blue.
Forgetting the blue.
Yeah.
And snakeskin.
Oh yeah, and a snakeskin. Yeah. So and hard. Okay. Anyway, so with so the way you would make them, I believe, is you get the leather. So you'd get like with the green d'hide shield, it would be 2 green dragon leathers with 2 maples and a steel bar.
Right. Okay, and I believe there's nails that would come with it, right? Or maybe it's the steel nails. Because I'm reading here, black d'hide shield is black leather times 2, redwood logs times 2, and rune nails times 15.
Yeah. So it would be like 1 bar of steel, mithril, addy, or runite for the nails, I guess.
Yeah, so turn them into nails first.
Yeah. Yeah, so like with the black leather shield, it would cost about 20k to make, so they're not going to be super expensive. You don't have to worry about that. This is like, it sounds like it more mid-level items. Well, I guess the black dragon shield would be, you need 83 crafting to make that, but yeah, so they're just adding more items, I guess, for mid and low level combat.
I guess gives you more options.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't seem bad. Because when I saw this, I was kind of thinking like, ooh, this is interesting. At the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if maybe it didn't pass. Only because like, people get very iffy when you're adding some new range bonus items, right? Mm-hmm. Especially when you're adding not just like 1 item, you're adding, 6?
Yeah.
So
I should say this. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be for like, you just get a little range bonus with defensive stats. So
yeah,
when you're using the hard leather shield, you get like minus 15 stab and slash, minus 11 crush, and minus 10 magic, and those stats are consistent for all the shields. But
right, okay,
but enough. Hard leather is +2 range, snakeskin is +3, green is 4, and 5, 6, 7. Like black d'hide is 7.
Yeah, okay.
And the Book of Law is +10.
Yeah, so okay.
So it's like I don't have like a mil or whatever. What is like a mil to get the book?
I believe it's about a mil.
Yeah, I don't have a mil to shell out to get +10 range, and the black d'hide shield sounds like it would like. Usually items go down to alch value, but I guess nothing drops it, so it'd probably sit around 20k. I mean, at once though, like if these items come out, because it's being pulled, you give it a couple months and it would settle down to like 20k or something.
Yeah,
because that's how much it costs, about 20k to make the black leather shield. So it's not that expensive. It's only like less than it's only 3 off from the Book of Law, and it's a way cheaper option, and you just lose. You gain defensive stats. I guess that's a trade-off, because the only benefit for using the Book of Law is +5 prayer and +10 range, I believe.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. Just a defensive variant, just as you're leveling and stuff. You don't have to use a friggin' rune kite or something.
Yeah, and let's say you're a range tank or something like that, and you're in the wilderness. Now you got something you can wield that's going to give you a little bit of range damage as well as some defense stats. So you're not just having to think like, okay, do I want the rune kite? Because it kind of takes away from my range damage a bit, but it gives me more defense. But if I use the Book of Law, I don't get any defense, but I get more offense. Mm-hmm. This might be kind of sit right in the middle.
Yeah, I mean, if you're PKing, you're probably going to still want to use the Rune Kite, though. Especially
Possibly.
because you lose a lot of attack, like minus 15 slash and stab. So like if you're DDSing or if you're Gmauling, it's minus 11. Or I guess Gmaul's two-handed. What am I talking about? But you know what I mean? Like you do lose a lot of like melee and mage attacks. So I guess you might want to just stick with the Rune Kite if you're PKing. But there are like some Slayer tasks you can't safe spot, and some people just like ranging over melee. Just, people got their preferences. Yeah, so they're just opening more things up.
And I do want to mention, because you said it's going to cost about 20k, and that's going with the current value of all the items, the resources to make them, but it's going to cost about 20k in resource cost. It does say here it will alch for 17k.
Yeah.
So it's not like, if it does settle down, it'll be probably around 17k,
Yeah, the lowest it will ever go is 17k.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah.
And if it goes any lower than that, you better start fucking buying them and alching them.
Yeah, but as of right now, there's no way to, like, no monsters drop them. So you can only get them by making them. That's why I say they'd probably sit at 20k until they have monsters dropping them.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, that makes sense.
But yeah, we'll move on to Barbarian Assault. So,
oh boy.
Currently in Barbarian Assault, using ranged attack style is less effective. So, there is an issue which allowed the blowpipe to be abused by changing the ammunition slot to contain, whatever dart. So, they're gonna be like changing it. So like, if you want to range on the offense or the attack, roll, there's like, instead of getting like bronze and like all the 4 variants of arrows you would get normally, you would get a new types of arrows. There would be bullet, field, blunt, and barbed.
Right. Okay.
And these arrows would replace the bronze and mithril arrows that you'd normally get, and you'd get 46 range attack and like range attack bonus and 125 range strength bonus.
Yeah, okay. So I'll quickly explain too, if you haven't done Barbarian Assault. There's 4 different roles, and that you have to do within the minigame itself as a party. One of the roles is called the Attacker, and you're basically having to attack the monsters that come through. And each player has a horn where you can blow it, and it will tell basically another party member, like another role, what they have to do. And the same thing is going to be happening to you. So your teammate's going to be saying the role for your attack. So they're going to be saying what to use as the attack role. And when I say what to use, it's if you're using melee, it'll go between attack, strength, and defense, right?
Yeah.
And controlled. So it'll give you those 4 options, and that's how you can actually damage. Anything else, you won't be damaging the monsters. And it changes every now and then. And the reason why range was kind of at a disadvantage was because it was between the different styles, was like bronze, steel, Addy and Rune or something like that.
It was bronze to mithril.
Yeah, bronze to mithril. So
yeah, depending on the style, would be like, fuck, this guy, I'm gonna hit nothing because I'm hitting him with bronze arrows.
Yeah, because with melee, if you're changing from the attack style to the controlled style, you're still basically doing the same amount of damage, but with ranged,
you'd be losing
not so
damage.
Much. Yeah, because you're having to switch from bronze to mithril.
And what people have found out though was you would use a blowpipe and you would just equip different arrows. You know what I mean?
Oh, I see what you're saying now in the ammunition slot. Because with the blowpipe, you actually put the darts, you charge them in the blowpipe, so they're not going in your ammunition slot. Okay, I see what you're saying. Interesting.
Yeah, so it was like a little bit of a bug that people were abusing. They took that out, and with these new bullet, field, blunt, barbed, like, they're consistent with, like, decent damage, and they say if you use these arrows with a magic shortbow imbued with full void, it'll be a little bit better than using full void with a blowpipe and rune darts.
Oh, wow, okay.
So it's a very big difference on what it was then and what they want to change it to now.
Now, I'm curious, let's say this does pass.
Yep.
I wonder if we're going to be seeing a change to the magic as well, because the way magic works is it changes between air, water, earth, and fire. And like we were talking before, magic spells have a cap on how much damage you can do. So if you get stuck with having to use your air attacks, you're doing less damage than your fire variants, right?
Yeah, I'm not too sure, because I know magic especially in the lower levels, is like the highest DPS.
Oh yeah.
But the change is like you're using up runes that can be very expensive depending on which type of spell you're using. So I don't know if people have been like talking about how bad magic is or whatever. I've only ever used melee in Barbarian Assault because it was the best.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
and I do feel like, because with the attacker role, you are getting attacked by some of the monsters. They're focusing you mostly.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're wearing robes, they're going to do a lot more damage to you. So most of the time, people aren't even opting to use the magic because you're stuck in cloth.
Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, they put that question up. Yeah, they just say read the blog for more details. Within the poll, they don't specify the damage bonuses and the kinds of arrows. So if you're just looking at the poll, it's very, very general because they're limited on how many characters they can put in.
Most of the time with those polls, they'll have a little link there that you can click. They'll be like, click this to view the dev blog, and then it'll open up the dev blog in a window.
Yep.
In an Internet Explorer window. Well, not Internet Explorer, because who the hell uses that?
But yeah, they have some more quests they want to add in, so that's pretty exciting.
Whoa!
Yeah, so the first one...
Now they're pulling Dragon Slayer 3 as well.
Yeah, Dragon Slayer 3, Barrow's Quest. No, but they have they're all going to be based on Zeah.
Cool.
So finally, they're kind of pushing out some more ideas, and yeah, with the Clan of Karen, they talked about they have a poll talking about how they could add a book with the rewards of finishing Clan of Karen that would give 3 charges, and then you could teleport 3 times to different houses or whatever.
Oh, interesting. Cool.
Yeah. So
getting around on Zeah is kind of a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
I know you have your one teleport, which brings you to basically the middle, and then you have like the Xerix necklace or something like that, which teleports you to a few different spots, but even that is still, it's a big continent, right?
Yeah, it's really inconvenient. So
yep.
Yeah, they want to make it a little bit more convenient. But yeah, with these quests, the first one they talk about is called Queen of Thieves. The gangs of Khorand have recently been uniting under a mysterious figure called the Queen of Thieves somewhere in Port Piscarilius. This novice quest tasks the player with infiltrating the gangs of Khorand in order to find the Queen of Thieves. So
sounds kind of cool.
Yeah, you need to have Clan of Khorand done, 20 thieving, and you also need 20% Piscarilius favor. So when you complete it, you get a quest point, 2,000 thieving experience, 2,000 coins, and 10% Piscarilius favor.
All right, it's pretty minimal, but still not bad.
They have the Depths of Despair. Arter Hosidius has gone missing, and Lord Kander Hosidius needs the players to help find his son and bring him home in new novice quest. So you need to have Clan of Khorand done. You need 18 agility and 20% Hosidius favor. When you complete it, you get 1 quest point, 1,500 agility experience, 4K coins, and 10% Hosidius favor.
So again, pretty minimal, but still.
Yeah.
It's pretty nice.
Yeah, low level quests, but also makes Khorand like a lot easier to get the favor. Thank God.
Exactly.
Thank God I only have Hosidius done though.
Oh really? I got Hosidius, Shazian, and Arceus.
Yeah, I had Arceus done at one point, but I didn't start the mini quest. I would lost percentage in Hosidius, and then and then I thought I started the mini quest, got 100% Hosidius, and lost all my Arceus again. And I was like, yeah, fuck this.
Yes. So if you haven't done Clan of Khorand, is that it? Or at least started it, right?
The Architect of Lions or something like that.
Yeah.
The mini quest that is essentially getting 100% favor in a house, and then you add to like a statue type deal.
Yeah, you gotta go talk to the architect for that house.
Yeah.
And then it locks it in. But if you didn't lock it in, let's say you get 100% Hosidius, and then you just go right over to Arceus, as Deegan did, I think.
Yep.
Like what you said, and then you get...
Yeah, you would lose percentage as you gain percentage in another. So you could like 50-50 or 100 or 0, like whatever. I
remember when I first got on there, I thought that this is how it worked, and I was like, "Oh my god,
yeah,
fuck this! I'm only gonna do each house maybe once. So after I lose the favor, fuck that, I'm not going back."
Yeah, I had the same idea too. But yeah, so those are the quests. They're pretty cool. I like I'm kind of curious on how Queen of Thieves would be. I feel like the Headsidious one is an agility course because you need agility. So I hope that's not actually how it is, though.
Just a quick little agility course. Underground, what is it? Underground Pass 2?
Yeah, pretty much. Or Morning's End Part 3.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Although, the way they describe it makes me kind of interested on the storyline with it. Most of the time I skip over the story, but there are a few quests that are actually pretty cool. Like, I'll half pay attention during it, and then I'll probably go back and read the wiki or read, go on the forums or something, try to find the write-up of it, of what the quest is all about, and be like, oh, that was pretty cool. It's a shame I didn't pay attention, but that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So these ones sound like they have pretty interesting storylines. Like you said, the Queen of Thieves, having to find the Queen of Thieves, was it? Mm-hmm. And then having to find some kid who got kidnapped or got lost or something.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So, with other changes, they recently increased the stock of teleport cards. You can buy at Diango's Toy Shop from 10 to 100.
Right, those exist.
Yeah, I mean, they're good for, like, low-level people in Dead Man mode and stuff, right? Convenient to get to Varrock,
Dead Man mode
much.
is usually where I'm remembering that they exist.
Yeah. So the change was pretty useless. That's why I didn't mention it in the other changes, because it didn't really do anything, because you could buy the teleport cards, but you could only use 10 or something. Your book could only charge 10.
Okay.
Does that make any sense? I believe that's how it worked.
Yeah, it was.
You
were limited to 10 per day, right?
Yeah, something like that. So you'd buy your charges, and you'd buy your 10 charges for your book, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So yeah, they want to increase the number of charges that the Chronicle can hold from 10 to 1,000. The teleport cards are used to charge the Chronicle, and you would still be able to purchase the daily limit.
So yeah, you can buy 10 a day, but at least now, if you didn't use all 10 of them, you can go back and stock up on 10 more and keep charging your book.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Cool. Okay. Makes sense.
Should we allow players to maintain their mage training arena points when the pizzazz hat is destroyed? These are
It'd
just
be
like
nice, so I can get rid of my freaking pizzazz hat.
Yeah.
It's just collecting dust in the bank.
Yeah, I need to get Bones to Peach's spell for
yeah, I grinded that out a while ago just for shits and giggles, but
yeah, you need it for a diary.
True. I just did it because I get a little bit of a completionist sometimes, where I like to collect all the different spells and stuff like that.
Yep.
Even if I'm not going to use them, but every now and then I do use the Bones to Peaches.
Yeah, it's super nice when you're bossing, doing Bandos and Sarah and shit. It's so helpful.
I was using them for the Lizardman Shaman, so that was pretty convenient. Even if you don't have Guthans yet, it's great to be able to have that. Bring some nature runes, bring the mud staff, and you could just pick them up. Because I think bananas heal you for what, 2 or 3 maybe?
Yeah, they heal you for like nothing.
Yeah, peaches heal you for 8.
Yeah,
so it's nice.
Yep. Should the medium R down diary award the player with 3 teleports to the allotment patch per day instead of 1? Yes. Do you know how annoying it is? Like, I do my morning farming run, and then I do like my nightly farming run, and it's like, oh yeah, I used my teleport already. Oh fuck. And I have to like use my Ecto to run to the bank or something.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
I think they should really do that. Should the hard R down diary award the player with 5 teleports to the allotment patch instead of 1? Yes.
Now, I'm going to ask you, let's say this does pass. Do you think they're going to forget that it also gives you the option of teleporting to the monastery right where the bush patch is?
Well, the monastery is like, there's no cap. You can teleport it a bazillion times a day.
With the cape?
Yeah.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's like that's why it's super good for Iron Man and stuff to get the cape ASAP, because I think it gives you prayer bonus too. I'm not too sure, but
and it does give you a stab bonus, a stab attack bonus.
Yeah, and it's also the teleports just south of Artie is pretty nice. But
I thought you were capped at the same amount as the allotment patches.
Oh, that would be bullshit. I'd hate that.
Well, I only use it just to get to the bushes when I'm doing my intense farming run, and I have every single farming patch in the game planted.
Yeah.
I'll go there and pick my poison ivy or my white berries.
Yeah. Should the players be able to exchange a tome of fire for 100 burnt pages? The reasoning behind this is that the burnt pages only come from people getting 99 fire making, and once you get it, you're done. You get the Tome of Fire and the burnt pages from Wintertodt, and yeah, generally it's just people getting 99 fire making, or if they're trying to get the pet, but like...
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
The burnt... There was like a huge, like, in like a surplus of pages when this first came out, when Wintertodt first came out, because everybody was like, oh, okay, let's get 99 fire making. But now that, like, people have calmed down on it, like, the prices just keep going up and up and up and up, and it's kind of, like, really bad. So they're just gonna offset that by allowing you to exchange a Tome of Fire for 100 burnt pages, which I think should be fine. So it's
nice if you get an extra Tome of Fire when you're doing Wintertodt.
Yeah.
I guess it's to level it out.
Yeah. Should players be able to set a toggle on the looting bag to deposit all of an item when used on a bag? I think yes. You know how annoying it is to like do KBD and you want to put like your hides in there and it's just like, oh, gotta hit like 2 for like both. What they want is you just use whatever on your looting bag and just everything gets thrown in there. I thought
you could open it up and right click your KBD hides and just like right click it and then deposit all.
I've always left clicked my items and then just left clicked the looting bag and then I hit 2 or is it 4 or 3? Like depending on how many of a stack you have, right? You have different options, but they want to set the option to just, you can always deposit all of an item. Cause like, why would you want to put 1 hide in instead of 2 or 4? So yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
They also want to know if Implings should be able to spawn on Fossil Island. Which I didn't even realize that they didn't spawn there, but it makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see why not, to be honest.
Yeah. And yeah, that's it for all the polls that they have recently put up. I'm kind of happy with like all these suggestions they're throwing at us with all the new quests and like the new buffs, and pretty excited for that stuff.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So pretty cool. A lot of these polls are kind of, for me at least, I feel like they're coming out of nowhere. Like I didn't expect, leather shields. Never even thought about that. Ahrim staff. I thought they just fucking were done with Barrows items. I'm surprised they, they're still thinking about them sometimes, right?
Yeah.
I wonder when we're going to start seeing some of the set bonuses get tweaked.
Maybe buff to Torag's hammers?
Yeah, because, oh man, do I love the Torag's hammers. They look fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And when you're wearing the full set, which, by the way, also looks great, probably one of the cooler looking sets, if you were to ask me. And the set right now, it takes their run energy away from you and away from your opponent and gives it to you, right? It doesn't sound terrible. It sounds decent, but the problem is that things are so shit that... Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen anyone rocking the hammers, but they look really cool.
Yeah.
Back in the day, the 2005 era, I was rocking those hammers all the time. I was killing so much shit with them just because, like, you didn't know better.
Yeah.
And, your idea of what DPS was how badass the items actually looked like. So you look at the hammers and you're like, these things have to be strong.
Yeah.
I'm dual wielding. Look at this. So, interesting. Cool.
But yeah, we talked about this, like, maybe our 3rd week in a row, talking about the Dead Man Autumn prize money.
Right.
So,
the Dead Man prize money part 3.
Yeah.
The trilogy.
So this is the conclusion. So, since the finale on the 23rd of September, they've, discussed how to like distribute the $20,000 of prize money. Mm-hmm. Because the last guy, he had a bot farm and all that shit.
Yep.
And
those poor bots.
Yeah, exactly. Those slaves. But, so they decided that $10,000 of the prize money will be given to the runner-up, which is True Fox.
All right.
Yeah.
So congratulations, True Fox.
Yeah, and the other $10,000 is going to charity.
All right.
CPSL Mind, the Prince's Trust, and YMCA.
Cool.
Yeah, and I wonder where that $1 is going, because they're doing it 33%. 1% left. Maybe they're keeping for themselves.
Yeah, let's see if we can get in on this.
Yeah. So this will be done alongside the proceeds raised from the RuneScape's Gilnorian Giving 2 event.
Okay,
another
cool.
Charitable event they do. But yeah, so that's finally concluded. We can stop talking about that garbage.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of can, although, you know, some people just can never be happy, because I did see a little bit of an uproar coming, being like, man, this is not how they should have handled it. And people were talking that, like, the only thing that sets him apart of the other two people was that he got DDoSed last. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, you know, just, I don't think, sometimes I just feel like Jagex can't do, not that they can't do anything right, but anything they do, they're going to be like, you should have done it this way.
Yeah,
like, there's no right
someone
answer.
will always, air quotes, know better than Jagex.
Yeah, but it's good that they're actually, you know, they came up with a conclusion or a solution.
Yeah, finally, it's good that that's all over and done with. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the news.
That is basically it. I got a few things that I want to talk about real quickly. I meant to talk about this, I believe it was last week, because they kind of brought this up in the Q&A that they do each week. You know, I do listen to it, but sometimes there's really not much that I find that's worth mentioning. It's just kind of, yeah, nothing too exciting. But one of the mods brought this up in kind of like an idea that they've been talking about, and I thought this was kind of cool, and I just want to see what you thought about it. So they've talked about having like not random events, but almost like random encounters that you'll see when you're traveling along the roads in Gielinor or RuneScape. Because as it is right now, I'm sure you do this, because I know I do this, I don't walk to any city. I teleport everywhere.
Yep.
I haven't walked or ran somewhere for ages. And some of the lower levels that do tend to do that, or kind of running around before they're able to unlock these teleports, the roads are pretty dead. You're not really seeing too much going on. So they mentioned in a Q&A that they've thought about, to make them more active almost, having like random encounters, in the sense that you're walking from Varrock to Falador, you might see a bunch of knights escorting a prisoner to Falador from Varrock. You know, something like that. Or maybe you'll see some traders walking from Seer's village to Arundel. They're not going to be like, they were kind of talking like maybe you can do something, but they're just going to be kind of like something to look at sort of deal. But that's the easiest way of doing it, but they were talking about like, if you've played Skyrim or any of those games before, when you're moving around in the world and going to another city, you'll bump into like the same scenario. You'll have 4 guards bringing a prisoner to another city, and you'll walk up and you can kind of ignore them, or you could help the prisoner by killing the knights and untying him, or you could, you know what I mean? Something like that, right?
Yeah.
So they've kind of mentioned like maybe it'd be kind of interesting to have like a sort of, not a boss, but maybe something like a killable monster, or something that, not a monster, but a killable NPC that has some uniques, but they're constantly moving around, so you can't just go to an area and camp it. It's more on the lines of like with the Dragon Impling, where you're just playing your game and then you see it moving around. You're like, oh shit, I could do this now if I wanted to, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you'll be walking, you'll see like this black knight, but he's like a black knight on steroids, and he's like pretty strong, and he's got like some unique drops that you can only get from him, and he's walking from one town to another, or something like that. I don't know. What do you think about something like that?
I've seen like other games do that type of stuff correctly, like, right? Like Guild Wars 2. They have some pretty cool like random
Encounters type thing out in the
Yeah.
world, like. And same with the Final Fantasy XIV, they have like little events that happen just out in the world, which is pretty cool.
I do think,
Yeah, I don't know, I kind of like that idea.
I think it's a cool idea as well. It seems a little bit tricky to do it right.
Yeah,
you know,
it'd be really tricky, but yeah, I think it would be a pretty good idea. I mean, I'd still probably opt in to teleport everywhere, but what I'm thinking is the people that can't might, you know, not want to shoot themselves. It's like, oh, cool. You know, like they're walking from here to like, let's say from like Falador to Camelot, and that awful walk. Maybe something cool could happen, you know?
Yeah. Or maybe you have like a merchant that sells something like a very small amount of herbs or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is just coming off the top of my head, and it's, this might help Iron Men or whatever it is. And, it's not something we could just hop worlds, buying up from the merchant. It's more on the lines of like, you have to really be lucky to bump into them.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll have a friend saying, "Hey guys, I found this merchant in this world. Come here and do it." I don't know.
I'm all for the idea. I'd just like to know their exact plans.
Yeah. You don't want them to be some pickpocketing NPC, like something that you can pickpocket.
Yeah.
And it being like the best experience or the best profit.
Yeah.
And then them thinking like, oh, no one's going to bump into it. But next thing you know, you just join a CC.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's 100 people following it, and you know exactly what worlds they're in or where they are in each world.
Yeah.
You got some guys shouting out. So I thought that was pretty cool. I mean, I was like, that's an interesting idea. Even if it's nothing and it's just a guy with a wheelbarrow pushing it from one city to another, delivering something. I think that'd be cool.
Yeah.
I know in RuneScape 3, they have a NPC called Max. Are you familiar with this?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's just he's who you get your Max cape from, I believe. And I think he's just in Varrock.
Yeah, when I played RS3 for a bit, I'd see him in the East Varrock Bank fletching or something like that.
Yeah, you constantly see him run around, either fletching, or I think I've seen him attacking those dummies at that training area in Varrock across from the bank.
Yep.
And I know there's a few things he does, like makes potions, does some fletching. I can't think of anything else, but he just kind of runs around and does his own thing. But I remember for me, when I would, I played very little RS3, but I would jump on just to be like, let's see what this game has in it. Let's see what's this game's about now. And it's, it's a totally different game. But I'd see that, and it's just like, oh, that's kind of cool to see.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of fun to bump into him and saying, hey, it's that dude, and what's he up to, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. So I like that idea, and I wouldn't mind, I don't know. I think it felt like that was it's something that's kind of harmless, right? It doesn't affect the game at all, but it's kind of cool. And then, I guess before we move on from the news, a little bit of drama went down. Not a whole lot. I mean, it's just a small thing, but back when they were coming out with the master clues or the ideas for the master clue and stuff like that, they wanted players to submit their suggestions and stuff to their ideas for maybe some new clues, different styles of clues. And so a bunch of people came out with, their ideas. That's how we got the rooftop courses. It was some like player suggestion contest. And yeah, so for the master clues, there was a player named A Classic Boy who suggested the Phalo the Bard idea. And what was supposed to happen was the winners were going to get some free merch as a reward, as well as kind of being recognized in game. They did that with, again, Motherlode Mine was another suggestion, and you can go there, and the person who came up with that suggestion, he's an NPC within the mining area itself. So that was supposed to happen. But I think Jagex kind of forgot to do it for that player who came up with the Fail of the Bard idea. Before I've mentioned that, Jagex has forgot to send out the reward to somebody who won something that they were promised or something like that, or they forgot to be recognized somehow in game. Yeah, that was something that happened a while ago, and
I didn't even know that was a player suggestion.
Yeah, it was.
Just goes to show they kind of really should give this guy some recognition, because I know, hey, thanks, Big Red Japan, every time I'm doing agility. You know what I mean? Like, he's everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the guy who had, A Classic Boy was hoping for was, maybe you right-clicked examine on somehow maybe examining something. I don't know if you can examine Fail the Bard himself. Probably not. But somehow seeing his name pop up when you examine something. And what people had said is, you can look at this as an examined text on a pin board at Watson's house, which is who you can get the master clues from.
Mm-hmm.
You can examine it, and it'll kind of list a few players on there, but that's the only where that he was listed, but I don't think he was aware of that. No, it was just interesting to see these. It had gotten forgotten almost, right? Mod Sween said he's going to look into it because, he wants to kind of make right. But the problem is this happened so long ago that a lot of people who are on the team that came up with it aren't exactly on hand. No, I just wanted to bring that up. I saw that on the Reddit. Thought it was pretty interesting. He's going to look into it. So, yeah, hopefully that guy gets his merch and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's basically it for the goings on in RuneScape this week. Yeah, we talked last week about having some new segments, and as you could hear earlier, we're going to be adding in some new sound cues and stuff like that, so probably looking at next week when we actually start having the new segments that we've been talking about. Maybe not all of them that we had mentioned, but we're going to definitely bring in a few of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and with that being said, though, I think it's safe to start bringing this to a close. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's about time.
It's about time. Alrighty. So, yeah, if you guys have any, if you guys have questions or anything you want to tell us or suggestions of any sorts, things you want to let us know, there's a number of ways you guys can go about doing that. We have a Twitter, which you can follow us at The Wilderness RS. We have a Facebook, which is facebook.com/The Wilderness Podcast. Our email is thewildernesspodcast@gmail.com. We have an in-game clan chat, which is WildCC. And we also have a Discord, which I'm working on getting like a custom link so I could actually just say it, where you guys could just, fucking type in discord.gg or .com, whatever it is, /Wilderness Podcast or something, and you can join simply. But right now, if you guys do want to join it, just let one of us know, and we'll get a link out for you.
It's also pinned on our Facebook as well, so you can just go onto our Facebook and get it from there.
Right? Yes. Okay. Yeah. I think that's about it. You got anything going on next week? Anything you're looking forward to, or something like that?
Nothing I'm looking forward to, but I have a bunch of schoolwork I have to do. I gotta finish my preliminary floor plans for Wednesday, and then
that
I have
sounds
to do my final
fun.
floor plans. I gotta start working on that on Wednesday once I hand in my preliminaries.
Make sure you get that gilded altar in a good position right near the entrance.
Yeah, I gotta have that in a convenient spot. I got dinged last semester pretty hard for not doing that.
Yeah, that sucks. You don't want to forget that. But that's cool. All right then. I guess let's shimmy on out of here.
Yep.
All right. Awesome. Well, thanks everyone for listening, and tune in next week for the next episode. Episode 54. I think that's what we're at.
Yeah.
We're gonna be at. We're at 53 right now. Oh boy. All right. Take care, everyone.
All right, have a good one. Peace.
Later, Gators.